Well, it's time now to let you know what this class is all about. And it's very simple. It's all about jelly. Yes, jelly. In order to get you to understand that this class is truly about jelly, I'm going to tell you a little story right now. One day, a custodian in a supermarket is sitting in his day room, and he's watching his soap opera. And all of a sudden, an announcement comes, and it says, "Spill on aisle 7." Well, he immediately goes into action, comes out of his office, his doors go up, and out he comes in his office. And he brings with him the finest equipment you could ever have for a spill. The best of mops, the best bucket with the most efficient wringer, and he even has motion sensor, voice-activated wet floor signs. Well, he goes scooting off to aisle 7, and when he gets there, he goes, "Whoa, a broken jar of jelly." Well, he employs all that excellent equipment, and he cleans up that spill so well, and he has all the caution signs out, and the scene is now safe. And he goes back to his office, and he walks backwards into his office, and the doors go down, and he proceeds again to sit in his recliner. Well, the next day, again, he's sitting there in his recliner, and he's watching a wonderfully interesting television program, and all of a sudden, again, an announcement comes out, and it says, "Spill on aisle 7." Well, he comes out. As the doors of his office go up, he comes out again with all that wonderful equipment. He turns around to aisle 7, and it's another jar of jelly broken. Well, in his efficiency again, with all the training that he has, and all his certificates as a great cleaner-upper, he cleans up the jelly, again makes the scene safe, goes and backs into his office, and the doors go down. Well, this next time, right soon after the second time that he went out there, he's watching his soap opera. Now, he's been watching All My Children for years, and now Erica is about to prove that Kendall did not kill Stuart when there's an alarm and it says, "Spill on aisle 7." Well, he goes out, and he's angry now because he has to leave his soap opera. And he goes, and it's another jar of broken jelly. Well, what I can say to you is he is now angry. So he's looking, and he's looking, and he's looking. And what he notices is it's always the large jars of jelly. And he looks some more, and he looks some more, and he says, they're on the middle shelf. And it's about shopping cart height. He says, I bet if we take those large jars of jellies and put them up on the other shelf and put the small ones down, they won't protrude. Now, we're always going to have an occasional jar of jelly break, but certainly not the way that we've always been having these jelly jar breaks. So he goes to the manager, and he tells the manager. And the manager says, "Well, where the heck have you been for all these years?" He says, "That's a great idea. We ought to do that." And he says, "By the way, would you kind of look around the rest of the store and see if you can find something like that? And why don't you come to our next meeting? And maybe you can contribute to how we manage the store. In the past, we just thought you were a jelly cleaner-upper. And now you're adding to the profits of the store. Do you know that we paid for a lady's dress because she got jelly on one of those last times that you cleaned up the mess before you got there? And we appreciate you getting there quick because, boy, it could have been a lot worse with people slipping and falling, and I pay a huge amount of liability insurance. Wow, as a matter of fact, I'm going to get you a helper. And what we're going to do is have you be part of our management team. Well, so what happens is the manager tells the stock people, and the stock people start stocking the shelves like they always have. And the manager had to every once in a while come and say, no, remember, the large jars on the top and the small jars on the bottom. And he did that 2 or 3 times, and then eventually, large jars on the top, small jars on the bottom. Occasionally there was a kid who messed with a jar of jelly, but certainly not as many jelly breaks as was before. And the custodial staff increased and became part of the management team. Well, you're saying to yourself, what in the world does that all have to do with community risk reduction? Well, in community risk reduction, we have something called the 5 E's. And these 5 E's you will see in this unit in the literature that you received. And the 5 E's are simply the fact that what happens is the first E is education. Well, the custodian went and told the manager about the situation of changing the jars and why some of the falls, or the jelly spills were happening and all of that. And the manager was educated. The next one is engineering. Well, the engineering part of this story is changing the jelly jars back and forth, making the large ones on the top and the small ones on the bottom. The next is economic incentives. Economic incentives are the fact that by reducing the amount of jelly spills, we save liability, we save buying dresses, and we save jelly. And then another one is enforcement. Well, what had to happen was the manager every so often, until the stock people got accustomed to doing it, had to kind of supervise the shelf stocking and make sure that the big ones were on the top and the small ones on the bottom. So it's kind of an enforcement thing. And the last E is the fact that we have emergency response. That's you. You are part of prevention. You're part of this whole thing, whether you know it or not. Because by getting to the scene and reducing the magnitude of the situation and getting things under control before they get totally out of hand is, in a sense, prevention. So here we have these 5 E's. And I ask you to look at the 5 E's and remember that this whole class is about jelly. And know that you can't just do education. You have to do all 5 E's in order to have an effective community risk reduction program. So I hope the next time you see a jar of jelly, you understand that it's got a great deal to do with community risk reduction.